This is Radio EBM.
I think we can ask another question from our chat. What approach or approaches do you use to eliminate false positives to move from patient at risk to real diagnosis? That's a question from Evgeny Berdyshev.
Important question, a very good question. Yeah, because this has been faced with all screening. You have to set the bar in a certain position where you don't want to miss a condition. That would be worse. So these conditions are rare. So you don't want what's called a false negative. In other words, if you set your limit, we call them cutoffs, where we're going to report something as like an analyte level, perhaps as a risk, or an enzyme level, in which case we're looking for low levels, not elevated levels of something. We have to have something in addition to that primary screening method. Think about enzyme tests, for example, that Michael has introduced with his technology. We know that there are many reasons for low enzyme activity. Besides lacking the enzyme, you could have a poor sample. You could have something called a pseudo-deficiency allele, which is really something that doesn't contribute to disease but reduces activity in the because we're using reagents to test these enzymes that we make in the lab, not the actual natural substrate. All manner of things can happen. So we definitely need to have something before we release that information to reduce the number of false positives. The best way is to use a tandem mass spectrometer, usually with ultra performance liquid chromatography attached, to go in and look for specific metabolites consistent with that presumptive diagnosis. And if they're not there, we can eliminate it and say, we don't need to follow up on this. And the result never leaves the lab as a presumptive positive. Unfortunately, there are not that many labs that are doing this. There is a lot of literature on it. I mean, there's a guy by the name of Giancarlo Lamarca from Italy who's published widely on this, on these he calls them second-tier tests, which is really, we're saying these are tests you can do on the original dried blood spot before the result ever leaves the lab to confirm or refute a presumptive diagnosis. So that's what we can do, and that's been very, very effective in the labs that choose to do it. Other labs have decided to use other methods. There are kind of like computerized methods that you can use that are available online. You can submit a result to these databases and see whether the database reflects the likelihood that this risk is real or not. And so we have tools. It's just that not enough labs are using those tools at the moment, but they're coming and they will keep coming. But to me, the best methods are the mass spectrometry methods because they're specific, targeted to known analytes that should be there if the disease is being expressed.
This episode was recorded as a part of MSACL Connect podcasts. Click the link below to watch the full interview with Dr. Millington, the legend of mass spec science. And you know what? This discussion was pretty fun. So like, subscribe, and don't miss the next video.